can you help me with my history field project?
Sure thing. What's your topic?
My topic is on the history of women's rights.
Well, from the beginning of the Civil War, most women wanted equal rights, but they were denied again and again because of lack of support. However, as the century progressed, women became more independent and were granted more freedom, and finally, the right to vote.
I know how it ended, but how did they get there?
Grandma knows a lot about the history of women's rights. Her grandmother lived through the Civil War.
Are you talking about the Civil War? During the Civil War, women felt hopeful about their rights because they were able to fill in for their husbands' jobs. Men were drafted into the war, and they left many vacant positions in America's workforce. My grandfather had to fight the Confederates down south, so my grandmother was forced to take over the family tailor shop. She not only altered clothing, but she cooked, cleaned, educated, and cared for her children.
Wow, I thought I had a lot of chores. Our history teacher mentioned Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton. Who were they?
Way back when I was in high school, I learned about them too.
Both Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton were driving forces in the fight for women's rights in America.
They founded the National Women's Suffrage Association in 1869, which was a group that helped women unite to fight against the injustices that women face daily.
Back in 1872, they voted illegally in a Rochester election, and later were arrested for breaking the law.
But they were simply trying to express their opinions in the form of a vote.
I know, sweetie. We've come a long way since then.
So why did it take so long?
Women's rights faced a great deal of opposition from men and even some women.
Really?
Unfortunately, this was true. Some women were not interested in political affairs. They were content tending to their house and children.
Men were afraid that women would control the government because they represented the majority in some states. Men believed that women were fragile and delicate, so they were incapable of making political decisions. There was a group called the National Association, formed in 1911, who were openly opposed to the women's suffrage movement.
Also, the suffragists were not always united. Different groups wanted different things. They had different approaches to achieving equal rights. The American Women Association wanted to focus on reforming individual state constitutions. They also believed that if black men were enfranchised, it would help their cause. On the other hand, the National Women's Suffrage Association hoped to create an amendment to the United States Constitution. They opposed the enfranchisement of black men because they felt that it would detract from their cause.
The two groups merged in 1890 to form the National American Women's Suffrage Association. In 1910, the women's suffrage campaign became a feminist movement. New leaders including Harriet Stanton Blatch, Carrie Chapman Catt, Jane Addams, and Alice Paul fought for women's suffrage rights for justice, but also for a solution to political and social problems. After many well-orchestrated conventions and rallies, the 19th Amendment was finally ratified on August 18, 1920. Women finally gained the right to vote.
So what happened after the bill was passed?
Many influential women figures came into the spotlight and inspired American women.
One of whom was Eleanor Roosevelt. She served as a First Lady from 1933 to 1945.
She redefined the conventional woman. Eleanor was independent and strong-minded. She also served as chair of the UN Commission of Human Rights. In 1948, she helped to draft the Declaration of Human Rights.
Oh my goodness, this is so much. I'm gonna get a snack. Okay, I'm ready to go back in time.
Have you ever read The Feminine Mystique?
No, Grandma, I'm only 10, not 100.
Oh, honey, maybe when you're older like me.
But when I'm like you, I won't be able to see anything without glasses.
Okay, back to the book.
Oh, yeah, Feminine Mystique. Who wrote it? Oh, yeah. In 1963, Betty Friedan wrote about the discontentment of most women in the home. Many women believed that they would contribute to society outside of their home. They wanted to find more opportunities for themselves. This book was very important to the feminist movement because it eliminated the myth that all women were happy in the home.
This novel was a turning point in women's search for equality. Nowadays, the possibilities are truly endless.
Maybe in the future I can be the President of the United States.
Of course you can. There are so many powerful women in this day and age, from Hillary Rodham Clinton to Michelle Obama, even Oprah.
Women's involvement in all aspects of life will continue to increase in the future due to the motivation and the drive of women everywhere.
Women's involvement in sports, education, and the workplace has greatly increased over the past century. Females now outnumber males in higher education. Over the past decade, sports figures such as Mia Hamm, Missy May Trainer, and Mary Kay act as positive role models and inspire young girls across the nation.